So it's been like 5 or 6 weeks since we finished this.
About that, yeah.
And this is the first time we're gonna see it completely done after all the landscaping's in.
This thing is by far the nicest water feature I think I've ever seen. This is awesome.
It's pretty biased, don't you think, Drew?
I don't think so. I mean, no, it's not biased. It's incredible. I mean, it took my breath away. So if that says anything.
Good morning, everyone. It's Jack from Atlantis Water Gardens. We are in Morristown, New Jersey. As a matter of fact, we're back in Morristown, New Jersey, where we built this fantastic waterfall and pond right up against this patio. If you haven't seen the episode where we built this pond, click the link right here. But the reason we're back here is because there is another pond on the property, well, somewhere, that is going to get a major overhaul. Now, it is going to be hard for us to top the pond that we built up on the patio over there, but we're going to give it our best shot because we've got some really cool plans for this. We're going to take this entire pond right out of here. We're going to dig out all those bamboo roots so we make sure that they don't come back and cause problems for us. Then we're going to build a boulder wall down the bottom. It's going to elevate this space about 2.5 feet, about where it is now. We're gonna have a waterfall coming off the pond into a pondless reservoir. There's these very cool stone steppers we're gonna be installing along the whole thing, making it a very interactive garden, kind of cantilever some stones out over the pond. And we're also going to be creating a massive waterfall starting up here by the patio, flowing down into the pond. But we're gonna take one of those steppers and we're gonna cross over it with a stone bridge before you can go up to the patio. How cool is that gonna be? To say these customers have been bitten by the water feature bug is an understatement. This is gonna be a really cool project here, and we're talking about possibly doing something else over on this side of the yard when we're finished with this. Let's get this pond torn out of here and start making this happen. That old pond is out of here. Now I'm starting to do some layout for where our negative edge reservoir is. We're gonna have water falling off the pond into this reservoir. This is gonna be down below ground. There's some calculations involved here because you've got a lot of water that's in transit. We're starting up at the top with our waterfall, making our way down a series of cascades and some stream sections before it hits the pond, and then it's gonna fall off the pond down another waterfall into this reservoir. Calculating how much water that is going to be important because that's gonna tell you the size that this reservoir needs to be in order for this to function properly. We've got about 280 gallons of water that's gonna be in motion when this thing is fired up, and the pump is feeding the waterfall, raising the water in the pond as well when it does that, and then down the cascades into the reservoir. I wanna be at least double that amount of water for my capacity. This is gonna be about 650 gallons, so I'm a little more than double. I like to have a little bit extra. That's gonna allow for when the pump turns on to feed all that, it's gonna draw down inside this reservoir a little less than halfway, still keeping water above the pump. And when it shuts off, all that water that's in motion is gonna come right back down to the bottom. So it's gotta have enough space in there to let it fill back up without it overflowing. We did a quick layout about where the aqua blocks are going to sit. We've got our retaining wall that started over here that's gonna be holding this all back. We're gonna bring this up about 2.5 feet. So we've got another layer of rock that's going in behind that. This is gonna sink down so the top of these blocks are about 6 inches below our existing grade. That's gonna allow us some room to do some rock work down here. We wanna have a little bit of pooling down the bottom also, so any fish that might make it over that negative edge into here at least have some water that they can survive in until they get put back in the pond, because fish aren't the smartest animals in the world. But they get used to it just like a skimmer, where they'll stop doing that. Initially in the beginning they might lose a couple over the edge. They can take them, put them back in. Eventually they'll stop doing that because they know that going over the edge is not a good thing. You hope anyway. We'll see what happens. So now we're gonna do our excavation for our reservoir, followed by the installation of our fabric, then our liner, then another layer of fabric inside our liner before the blocks go in with the pump vault. That reservoir is looking really good. All our aqua blocks are in there nice and level. Our pump vault is actually set inside the blocks. That protects the structure itself from getting crushed from the outside forces. We put it inside the blocks, so it's totally surrounded, nice and structural. Right now, the guys are pulling the fabric up around the outside of the blocks. Then our liner is going to get pulled in. Then our fabric that's underneath, which we doubled up on, is going to get pulled in, making a big sandwich. We can backfill this evenly on both sides. The important thing is we don't want to put a whole bunch of backfill on the left side. It will actually push the whole reservoir over. So we've got to do it evenly, where we backfill little by little, getting it in lifts so we can compact it nice and tight. Then we can unfold everything and start our rock work leading up to where the pond is going to be. Okay, here we go. First rock going in, which for me is the most important one because it's going to set the tone for the whole job. And this one has a ton of character. The thing I like most about it, look at it here. You see that flat spot right here? That's going to be a waterfall. How it bumps up right there, that's going to keep it framed in, so it's going to corral the water off of this. Then we can frame something else in front of it. Instant waterfall. That's going to be the main drop for our negative edge coming into our reservoir. Reservoir's installed, that's looking really good. Once we set this, then we can start shaping out how this waterfall is going to look. Then from there, do our rock work inside the reservoir to make it look like it's a natural component of the entire system. I'm getting really excited about this pond because I can just see it in my mind, all these different grade changes with those waterfalls, the way the stairs and the landing areas are going to interact. This is going to be, I think we might actually outdo the pond that's up top there. I'm feeling good about it. Boy, we chewed up some rock today. This reservoir is starting to disappear, and the rock work that's framing this waterfall looks incredible. We've used, I'm gonna say about 8 tons of boulders just in this section here. This is where the waterfall is coming off the pond. That stone right there is gonna spill off of there, and then it's gonna come off of that section, falling in on itself here like a little V. And then we're gonna have a pooling area behind this rock in the middle, with a waterfall here and over here. So it's gonna be a lot of action in maybe 3 feet of elevation. Love the way that's turning out. You see we're doing a lot of layering with our boulders now. We've got one behind the other. My biggest pet peeve is seeing the bottom of a rock. So when it's finished, you shouldn't see the bottoms of the rocks. They should be sunk in like they kind of fell there and they just work their way into their place over time. While we've been doing this, we fished in our plumbing. The big 3-inch is gonna be feeding our pump. We've got another 2-inch flex PVC. That's a chase for our pump cord. So now we can take our pump cord from inside the vault, go over to where our outlet's going to be, and it's all going to be underground, nice and neat. We're not worried about cords getting stuck in the dirt, under the mulch, whatever. And we've also got our feed line here for our automatic water fill. Now we're at the point where we can actually start shaping and digging the pond that's going to be right behind this. And I think we'll let Boley explain how that's going to work. Boley, tell me how the pond's going to go. All right, that leaves you then. Come on out here.
What'd he say?
He just walked away.
Oh, well, I can walk away.
Come on.
The pond's gonna go here in between the drainage pipe and the waterfall. It's gonna take up this whole area. You know, that's all I got.
You're trying, buddy. You're trying. We have some existing drainage that we had to go ahead and fix to get down deeper because it was coming across about 3 feet higher. We had to cut that, go down below where we're gonna be working. And now in this space that I'm standing in is where our pond's gonna be. About a 10 by 14 pond. We'll have underwater lighting in this whole system. There's gonna be a fish cave inside here as well as aquatic planting. But what's gonna be cool is seeing that water exit the pond off of that waterfall and down to the bottom. Plus, we got this big waterfall that's gonna go in up here with those steps and that crossing. I'm getting really excited to see how this is going to look so fantastic in this backyard. But right now I'm at the upper patio, and this is going to be one of the vantage points for where the pond is going. That's our waterfall that's coming off the negative edge going down to our reservoir. This is where our 10 by 14 water garden is going to go. I want to have the pond bump out this way because that staircase is going to come up with the landing, and the landing is going to be important because that's going to be another observation area right up against where the pond is. It'll be fed by our 6,000 biofalls starting at the top, making its way down underneath those steppers. Nice big waterfall cascading into the pond, continuing down our water course. Next step is shoot the elevation of that top waterfall. That's going to set our water level in the pond. When the system is running, the water level will actually raise up a couple inches because of the volume of water coming from the waterfall. So we're gonna have to account for all that when we're setting our edges along the outside to make sure that our freeboard is set enough that it's gonna keep that water contained in the pond. Let's start digging this thing.